Whether it's the regular season or the off-season, we have you covered as we give you the best Tennessee Titans and NFL news and insight that a fan could ask for. You're watching the Titan Upload Network.
What's up, Titans Nation? Welcome in to the 615, and yes, you are listening to the 615 podcast and a member of the Titan Upload Network. So, of course, we're going to run through a preview of Titans Jags, and then we're also going to look ahead to Titans Panthers. So, but let's start with some big news. Colts have waived and released All-Pro and Pro Bowl linebacker Shaq Leonard. And in my mind, I think it's due to injury. He's been dealing with a back injury for roughly the last year and a half. Sort of like what Titans corner Caleb Farley's dealing with. But this season, his playing time has dipped drastically, which he's spoken about publicly, and now he's been waived. And then of course, still with Shaq Leonard, there are 5 teams that are favorites to land Shaq Leonard. Starting at number 5, the Cleveland Browns. Number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. 3, Philadelphia. 2, Chicago. And number 1, a team that, of course, we're going to talk about later on in the episode, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are very, very thin at linebacker. So I like it. I like the Carolina Panthers for Shaq Leonard. The question is, can he go in and pass a physical? And some other news, some very heartbreaking news for the Titans. Starting right tackle Chris Hubbard is expected to miss the rest of the season with a bicep injury. And this was broke on the 20th, so Monday, by Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. And of course, Chris Hubbard, he has started 9 games for the Titans. He's been very consistent. Now the question is, who starts at right tackle? Is it Dylan Radins, or is it Jalen Duncan, the rookie? And of course, y'all see Gary's not here this week. With it being Thanksgiving this week, I was like, hey, go spend time with your family. But let's look at the Titans-Jags game. Will Levis, 13 of 17. 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm going to bring the sack number up here in a minute after running through some of these stats. Derrick Henry, 10 carries, 38 yards. We've seen a consistent pattern with the number of rushes Derrick gets in games. When he gets 20 or more, when Derrick gets 20 or more touches on the ground, not through the air, on the ground, the Titans win. But when he gets less than that 20, like the stat this week was 10 carries, the Titans lose. And I think this is the least number of touches he has gotten all year long, if I stand corrected. Let me see if I can find this stat. And here it is. This is the least number of touches that Derrick has had all year. The most touches he's had all year, you have to go back to week 2 when the Titans beat the Chargers. Derrick got 25 touches on the ground. So you're seeing a pattern. When the Titans give Derrick the ball on the ground, less than 20 times, the Titans lose. When Derrick gets the ball more than 20 times on the ground, the Titans win. Chris Moore, Huge end around. 1 carry, 38 yards. Tajay Spears, 4 for 14. Will Levis, 4 carries, 2 yards. Receiving, DeAndre Hopkins, 4 for 50 for 4 for 59, 1 touchdown. Chris Moore, 1 catch, 49. Tajay Spears, 2 for 12. Kyle Phillips, 1 for 10. NWI, 1 for 7. Josh Wiley, the same, 1 for 7. Derrick Henry, 1 for 6. Chigakonkwo, 1 for 6. Jeffrey Simmons, surprise, 1 catch, 2 yards, and a touchdown. The first receiving touchdown of his career. But then you look at the breakdown between the Titans and Jags. The Titans in this game, going into this game, or after this game, they're 26th in points scored, 16.8. Jacksonville's 12th, 23 points scored. Total yards per game, 311. That's 26th in the league. 15th in total yards per game, Jacksonville is 349.5 yards total per game. The Titans are 25th in passing yards per game, 206.1. The Jags are 240.8 passing yards per game. That's 15th. Then you get to the rushing yards per game. The Titans are 18th with 105 total offensive rushing yards per game. The Jags are 16th with 108.7 rushing yards. You get to time of possession per game. The Titans are 21st at 29 minutes and 22 seconds. The Jaguars, on the other hand, are a staggering 6th in total time of possession per game at 31 minutes and 29 seconds. Then you get to the defensive side. The Titans are 16th in points allowed per game, 21.4. The Jags are 11th and 20.4. Total yards allowed per game. The Titans are 22nd at 343.1 yards per game, allowed per game. Jags are 20th with 341.4 passing yards allowed per game. Titans are 20th, 230.8. The Jags are 28th. They're allowing 254.4 rushing yards allowed. The Titans are 12th or 18th. They're allowing 112 rushing yards per game. The Jags are 4th. They're allowing 87 sack totals. The Titans are 20th with 25 sacks. The Jags are 26th with 20, but the scary number right here, interceptions. The Titans are still 32nd with 3 interceptions. But then you get to the Jags. The Jags are a staggering 4th in the league with 11. But the stat that I wanted to talk about were the sack numbers combined between Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis, and Malik Willis. This is what the offensive line has allowed. The offensive line has allowed 35 sacks with a total of 251 yards lost. That comes to an average of 7.1 yards per sack. Now, let's talk here for a minute. That proves that this offensive line is terrible. This offensive line has no business being that bad. And there's something that was put out by, there was a video that was dropped the other day, and it was during Mike Vrabel's press conference. Of course, I did not get clearance to use this, but I just want y'all to hear what was said from between Mike Vrabel and Turron Davenport, because this is going to tie into what I'm talking about in the final segment of the show, and it's dealing with Mike Vrabel. And of course, this is of Turron Davenport and Mike Vrabel talking about, and there's some, I don't want to say some bad blood, but here it is.
I've never, are you questioning that? I'm not sure. Is that
I'm asking you what.
Are you
what
questioning,
you feel
Turron, my control of the locker room?
I'm asking.
You're questioning it.
No, what I'm asking you is for examples of how you still have. I'm not saying you do or don't have control of it. What I want to know is what are some examples of you having control?
The same ones that have had.
I'm going to say this. The Titans have a staggering record over the last 17 games. In the last 17 games, the Titans are 3-14. What Turron, or what Vrabel implied that Turron was asking, was about his control of the locker room. And you can feel free to put your opinion out there. But so this is mine. I feel like that Mike Vrabel is slowly, with each loss, losing this locker room. And I put two polls out, and we're going to talk those at the towards the last segment of the show. But as I said, of course, Gary's not here this week. We're still talking good, bad, and ugly. I got him to send me his good Big Jeff's day on both sides of the ball, which was very impressive. And then, of course, congrats to Jeff on his first receiving touchdown. Yeah, it was a 2-yard pass or 2-yard reception. But when a big man like that can get a touchdown, kudos to you, big man. DeAndre Hopkins, the deep touchdown play. Great play by great awareness by Will Levis. And that ties into my good. Explosive plays. The Titans are very good in explosive plays this year. I don't know the exact number, but then you get to the bad. The coaching for me was the worst, was really bad. And of course, that goes into the one for Gary, secondary allowing big plays. When your secondary is allowing big plays, there's something wrong inside your coaching. And then, of course, the ugly, again, the offensive line is the most ugly part of this team in any loss that the Titans have had this year. Or, in my part of this, the offensive line or the lack thereof. The Titans' offensive line is down towards the very bottom of the league. I think they're somewhere between 28 and 32. They're somewhere right in there in that very bottom, the bottom fifth of the league. But then, mine and Gary's top 5 games from this past weekend: the Eagles game, the Broncos game, the Browns game, the Niners game, and the Rams game. Those are Gary's top 5 games. But there's some overlap between Gary and I. The Eagles and Chiefs game, that was my number 1 game of the week. What a game by the Chiefs to go out and blow it. Yes, the refs tried to give them this game, but the Eagles just would not go away. The Eagles hung around, and they ended up winning this game. And shout out to Kevin Byard on his first interception since leaving the team and going in trade to go to Philadelphia, on his first interception as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2 for me, Browns Steelers. The Steelers, these two teams are not that great. But yes, the Browns are 7-3. So what? if you cannot make the playoffs and actually win a game, it's all for nothing. Yes, you lost to Sean Watson, but you still found a way to win the game, 13-10. The Lions Bears on Thursday night. What a game. I'm going to say what a game for quite a bit. Lions Bears. The Bears had every single chance. The Lions, they rallied from 12 points down to beat the Bears on a late touchdown by David Montgomery. But yeah, for the Lions to hang on and beat the Bears, the Lions right now are 8-2. 8-2. It has been a long time since the Bears were the Lions were 8-2. Then you get to the next matchup, Packers Chargers. Packers find a way to hang on or come back in this on a late touchdown pass by Jordan Love. And the Packers, they're still in there. They're hanging out there in the thick of it. And I go to college ranks. Washington, Oregon State. What a game by Washington and Oregon State. I want to say this. Outside of the University of Oregon, or any team in the top 25, or even in the top 5, there's only one team that's really surprised me this year, and it's Oregon State. Oregon State. Yes, they lost, but you hang with a team that's looking for a chance to go play for a college football national championship in Washington. Washington's 11-0. You lose to Washington by 2. What a game by Oregon State. But we get ready to go look at Titans Panthers. But before we get there, our Week 11 Pick'em records by Gary and I. Gary beat me by 1 game. Beat me by 1 game. He finished 11-3 for last week. And I went 10-4, which our overall records, Gary is at 79-70, while I'm at 94-55. But now we're going to look at the game, the matchup for Sunday. 1-9 Panthers come to Nissan Stadium to take on the 3-7 Titans. I wish it was 7-3, but it's 3-7. But the stats for this game: offensively, the Panthers are not a good offense. Yeah, they hold the ball for a long time, but they cannot score. Points scored, the Panthers are 29th, where they're allowing 16.3 points per game. The Titans are 26th, they're allowing 16.8. Total yards per game, the Panthers are 30th in the league, allowing 297. The Titans are 26th. No, the Panthers are putting up a total of 297 total yards on offense. That's 30th. The Titans are 26th on total offensive yards with 311. But passing yards per game are identical. The Panthers are 26th putting up 205 passing yards per game. The Titans are 25th, putting up 206 total passing yards. Rushing yards, the Panthers are 29th with 92 yards rushing per game. The Titans are 18th with 105 rushing yards per game. As I said, time of possession, the Panthers are only good in time of possession on offense. 30 minutes and 36 seconds. That's 12th. The Titans are 21st with 29 minutes and 22 seconds. But then you compare defensive stats. The Panthers are 31st in points against per game. The Panthers are allowing basically 28 points a game. The Titans, on the other hand, are 16th, allowing 21 points a game. Total yards allowed per game. The Panthers are 6th. They're only allowing 309 yards per game. The Titans, on the other hand, their Titans are 22nd. They're allowing 343 yards total per game. The Panthers are 6th in passing yards allowed per game, 179.2. So basically 179 yards is what the Panthers are allowing in the passing game. The Titans are 20th. They're allowing 231 passing yards allowed per game. Rush yards allowed per game. The Panthers are 24th. They're allowing 129, while the Titans are 18th, allowing 112. Sacks total defensively. The Panthers are 31st with 17 sacks. The Titans are 20th with 25 sacks from a defense standpoint. Interceptions. The Panthers are 26th. They have 5 interceptions. The Titans are 32nd in the league with 3 interceptions. Yes, the Panthers have 2 more interceptions than we do, but they're ranked at 26th. But then let's head to the Week 12 pick'em. Yes, it is Thanksgiving week. So I did go a little festive. Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Yes, we have a Black Friday game this year. But your 3 games from Thanksgiving. Packers at the Lions. The Lions are favored by 7.5. Gary and I, we both took the Lions. The late afternoon game, just before Thursday night football, you have Commanders at the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 10.5. We both took Dallas. Thursday night, you have the Niners at the Cowboys. Niners are favored by 6.5. I mean, not the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and it's at Seattle. The Niners are favored by 6.5. And both Gary and I, we both took the 49ers. Then you're going with Black Friday. The Dolphins at the Jets. The Dolphins are favored by 9.5 points. So we both took Miami. And then your early window on Sunday. The Falcons host the Saints in an NFC South showdown in Atlanta. The Falcons are favored by by 1 point. Gary's taking New Orleans. If this game was in New Orleans, I would say give me the Saints, but it's not. Give me Atlanta. Pittsburgh at Cincy. We're both taking Pittsburgh by a point. The reason why, no Joe Burrow. You have Jake Browning, who's only I think this is his first start in the league. The third game from the early window on Sunday, Titans-Panthers. Titans host the Panthers in Nashville. Gary's taking the Titans, and the Titans are favored by 3.5. With what I have seen of the Titans, I do not feel comfortable taking the Titans. Give me Carolina. Tampa Bay at Indy. Indy's favored by 2.5. Tampa Bay, Gary's taking Tampa Bay at Indy. Give me Indianapolis to hold on at home. And the Colts are favored by 2.5. Patriots at the Giants. I do not trust the Patriots. Yes, they're a 3-point favorite. I do not trust them still. Give me the Giants. Jags at the Texans. And of course, Gary, but of course, back to the Patriots Giants game. Both Gary and I we're both taking the Patriot or the Giants. Jags at the Texans. The Jags are a 1-point favorite, but we're calling upset. Give us Houston. Then you get to your late window, your 4:05, your 4:25 kickoff times Eastern. Browns at the Broncos. Broncos are favored by 2.5. Both Gary and I were both going Denver at Denver. The Rams are a half-point favorite over Arizona. Gary's taking Arizona at Arizona. Give me LA. Because the Cardinals are not that good. Chiefs at the Raiders. Chiefs are favored by 9 points. Both Gary and I were both going Kansas City. Bills at the Eagles. Eagles are favored by 3.5. They're coming off a huge win over Kansas City. Philadelphia's 9-1. We're both taking Philadelphia at home. But then you get to your primetime games. Sunday night, Ravens at the Chargers. Ravens are favored by 4, but the game's in LA. Gary's taking the Ravens. As I said, it's in LA. If it was in Baltimore, I would say yes. Give me the Chargers. It's at home. The Ravens have to fly cross country to play a game this week. I hate when you have to travel across 3 time zones to play a game. But it has to be done. And the Ravens this week have to do that. Give me the LA Chargers. Bears at the Vikings. The Vikings are a 3.5-point favorite over the Bears. We're both taking the Bears. But for me, this game's also a toss-up. Because the Bears have been playing really good football lately. But let's go ahead and head into the back end. Yes, I went through this very quick. But I put up a couple polls on Twitter within the last week. The first one is, this is all Titans fans. Are fans afraid of life after Mike Vrabel if the Patriots really make a great offer? Now, there was 86 votes on this. 34.9% of the votes were for yes. The fans are afraid of life after Mike Vrabel. 55.8% are for no. 9.3% of the votes are for maybe. But after this game, this 20-point loss to Jacksonville, is Mike Vrabel on the hot seat? Yes, maybe, no, or absolutely not. Here's the breakdown. 38.9% says yes. Yes, that Mike Vrabel's on the hot seat. 29.6% is for maybe. Here's another one for 29.6% for no. But the smallest percentage, 1.9%, says absolutely not. That Mike Vrabel is not on the hot seat. But the Titans' chances to make the playoffs are next to 0. The Titans have a 0.5% chance to make the playoffs. While let's look at the AFC South. The Colts have a 25.7% chance. The Texans have a 74% chance to make the playoffs. The Jaguars have a 90.8% chance. This is in the AFC South, or the AFC. The Chiefs have the highest chance. 98.3%. Ravens, 96.9%. Miami has a 95% chance. Jags, I just said it, 90.8%. Cleveland, 87.4%. Houston, 74%. Pittsburgh has a chance to make the playoffs, 67.1%. Buffalo, 27.3%. Indianapolis, 25.7%. The LA Chargers, 14.6%. The the Broncos, 12.8%. The Raiders, 4.2%. The Jets, 3%. Cincinnati, 2.5%. The Titans have 0.5%. And the Patriots have 0.1%. That's 0.1%. That is kind of scary that the Titans might miss the playoffs for the second year in a row. So that brings you right back to this poll. Is Mike Vrabel on the hot seat? My opinion, yes, he is. Right now, under Mike Vrabel, in the last 17 games, the Titans are 3-14. At this rate, for this season right now, the Titans are 3-7. You may go 3-14 or 4-13. That right there, one of those two records, is basically saying, hey, we have a top 5 pick. I don't see the Titans make the playoffs. But as we get ready to get out of here, go over Homage. The link will be in the description. Go if you have a sports in your life, grab them something from Homage. This is the best time to do it. You have Christmas coming up. You're heading into Thanksgiving holiday. They have their Tecmo Bowl collaboration with Homage. Go if you have a Titans fan, go get them a Titans or Oilers starter jacket. And while you're at it, go over to YouTube. Go to the Titan Upload Network on YouTube and subscribe today. We are well over 1.7. And I can actually get you that number. We're making the push for 11.8. 11.8. We are at 11,755. We are making the push for 11.8. And you can find 6 of me included. 6 of the most incredible content creators, Titan Time Podcast, Titan Upload, Titans Rossi, myself, Titans for Life, and Michael Bishop from the Power Hour. You can find all 6 of us on the Titan Upload Network. And we have a lot of great stuff going on. I'm dropping a mock draft later on this week that is actually from the show last week. And I'm going to aim to do a mock draft once a month leading up to the draft. And then in April, you'll get a mock draft every other week. So you'll get one the second week, and then you'll get one the night before the NFL draft. But and of course, go grab me on all of my socials. Twitter at podcast615, Instagram at _615 podcast, TikTok at Lee Hillis, YouTube the 615 podcast. And yes, donations are greatly appreciated on Cash App. Do the $, the with a capital T, 615 podcast with a capital P. And yes, another big shout out to our sponsor, Homage. And as I always say, stay classy and tighten up.